Hey guys, and welcome back to the Peteytown Piranhas, a college football 26 team builder dynasty. In this episode, we're going to be going through year 30 of the program, and it will be the final season of the Piranhas as we reach the cap. And it's just a lot of emotions going through me right now. Just so proud of everything this team has accomplished and all the records and history we've had over the years. And I'm just really excited to bring this season to you. Very bittersweet, of course, with it ending, but very excited to see this team in action and see what we can do in our final year. So we're going to check out the schedule that we're going to be facing, and then we're going to meet the team, and of course no recruiting with it being the final year. And if you like what you're watching, you can leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. We're going to open up our season against our rival Syracuse, and then we're going to have another rivalry game against Pitt. Then we're going to travel to Notre Dame to take on the Fighting Irish. Then we're going to take on Indiana, Michigan State, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Nebraska, and USC. Then there will be a bye week. Then we take on Purdue and Penn State. And then we're going to close the year against Miami, another rivalry game. Wish we could have gotten Maryland on here to get all of our rivals involved, but it is what it is as we get into this season. We're going to come into this season ranked number 2 in the country with 99s across the board, and probably on paper it's going to be our most talented team ever, just because I used all the skill points I could on everybody. Just with it being the last year, really no reason to save any points at this point. But we also have 9 99 overall players, and that includes strong safety Earl Callaway, center Alec Murphy, right guard Marvin Pryor, cornerback Jay Azur, quarterback Julius Castile, halfback Marquez Hopper, Cordell Reese at strong safety, Mike linebacker Mark McGinnis, and cornerback Darren Nasraldine. As mentioned, we're going to have Julius Castile finally take over the reins for us, a very talented quarterback who's been waiting a long time for this opportunity. Then we got halfback Marquez Hopper returning to us, with our guy Brian Hines, a transfer, coming in for different packages. Then fullback, we're doing something a little different. We got tight end Carlos Rashid here. Our regular fullback LaMelo Nestor is a freshman, and he's not as talented as our guy Carlos, so I'm just going to go with a talented guy here. Then at wide receiver, we're going to have Kona Onatolu, then Jason Bale, then Jared Barnes, and of course Quincy Daniels coming back from last year. And then tight end, we're going to have Kashawn Tobin coming out here. We have these pure blocker guys to help out with that duty, but Kashawn is really our receiving threat. Then for our offensive line, at left tackle will be Mitch Haywood. Left guard will be Marvin Pryor. At center, we're going to have Alec Murphy. Right guard will be Enrique Ogletree, moving over from tackle. And then at right tackle will be Everett Greason. On defense, we're going to have transfer edge Afa Rowe out there, and then for right edge will be Taylor Palacio. At defensive tackle, we're going to have Gerald Barmore and Morris Kane, along with Deshaun Khaled for different packages. He's an edge, but moving him over to defensive tackle because we got to have him out there. Then for Sam linebacker, it'll be Nate Mowdy. At Mike linebacker, Mark McGinnis. And the other outside linebacker will be Austin Chamberlain. Then at corner, we're going to have the 2 99s with Darren Nasraldine and Jay Azur. Then at slot will be Levi Goodley. Free safety will be Cordell Reese. Then at strong safety, it's going to be Earl Callaway. And then for 3 safety looks, it's going to be Doug Silvestro out there joining them. Then at kicker will be returning guy AJ So and punter Pat Carruthers. It's time to begin our final season with our rivals Syracuse coming in with their 72 team overall. Taking a look at the history between these two teams, we've only played 5 times and we've never lost to them. And it's going to be Kona Onatolu into the end zone for the Piranhas off that RPO post play, and a nice explosive way to begin this final season for the Peteytown Piranhas to go up 7-0. Syracuse has a pretty good looking first drive that stalls out, and they're going to go for a field goal attempt here. And their man is going to put it up, and slow motion in the first quarter is always fun, and he's going to put it through to make it 7-3. Marquez Hopper getting this carry, and it's going to be an easy touchdown for Marquez and the Piranhas as we go up 14-3. And we're going to get our first sack of the season. It's going to be Nate Mowdy coming in off a blitz. And another sack. It's going to be back-to-back sacks as Taylor Palacio gets back there. And Kashawn Tobin is going to go down the sideline, and Kashawn is going to score. What a nice play there. They got jumbled up in a group over there, and Kashawn just ran right around them to make it 21-3. And a combined sack there. It's going to be Afa Rowe and Taylor Palacio. And it's going to be Brian Hines, and he is going to score. I wasn't sure if he was in there, and he's going to be deemed to be in unless there's a review, but don't think there will be, as it's going to be 28-3 Piranhas. And it's going to be Kashawn Tobin again. He dives and gets hit hard, but he put that ball over the line to make it 35-3 Piranhas. The Peteytown Piranhas begin their season with a 45-10 victory over Syracuse in the Big Apple Brawl, and we end our series against them 6-0 all time, so nice to see that. We had 413 yards on offense, while Syracuse had 205, and then on the ground they had 39 and a touchdown, and we had 59 and a touchdown. For passing, they had 166, and we had 354. For third down, they were 3 for 16, and we were 4 for 10, and turnovers, there were none today. Julius Castile started off this season with a nice game with 332 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was not sacked. And we also had our backup Brady Spears getting 22 yards and a touchdown. For our ground game, Marquez Hopper had 9 for 53 and a touchdown. And for receiving, Kashawn Tobin with a big day, 8 catches, 125 yards, and 2 scores. Then Kona Anatolu had 6 for 99 and a touchdown. Then Brian Hines, 3 for 57 and a touchdown. And a 20-yard touchdown catch by Leon Vildor with the backups. Mark McGinnis had a bunch of tackles today with 14, and he had 3 for a loss. And then for sacks, we had 1.5 from Afa Rowe, 1.5 from Taylor Palacio, 1 from Nate Mowdy, then half a sack each for Hakeem Bighill and Jacques Hargrove. Then for kicking, AJ So came out with the backups, and he hit a 40-yarder. Early in the season, Julius Castile and Marquez Hopper are at the top of the Heisman Trophy watch list, but we'll see how long that lasts. Our second straight rivalry game will be against Pitt as we travel to them. They lost their opening game, but they're still in the top 25 at number 23, and they have a team overall of 91. And we'll take a look at this rivalry. We played them much more than we did Syracuse, and we're 11-0 against them all time. And we're going to get the sack there. Nate Mowdy was going to follow the running back, and he realized it was a pass, and he turned right around and got the quarterback. And a sack here for Pitt as their guy just charged right on through. And Marquez Hopper is out of there on this reception, running down the numbers, and I don't think anybody's going to catch Marquez, and they will not. What a play there from him. They were distracted by Kashawn Tobin on the little drag route on that play, forgetting Marquez was on the trail, and Marquez took care of the rest to make it 7-0 Piranhas. And that is going to be intercepted by our guy Mark McGinnis, the quarterback, trying to throw it past him, I guess, but just a bunch of traffic, and Mark just plucks that out of the air. And that is going to be into the end zone, into the arms of Zach Tobin. Very tight window there, but we're able to thread that needle to make it 14-0. And that's going to be a sack, it's going to be a fumble, and we're going to scoop that up, and it's going to be a touchdown for Afa Rowe, or no, that's Taylor, yep, Afa Rowe, I was right the first time, and it was Deshaun Khaled getting back there for the strip sack. And another sack here, it's going to be Deshaun Khaled again. And it's going to be Marquez Hopper again down the numbers, and Marquez Hopper has another long touchdown in this game, this time running the ball, and the Piranhas will go up 28-0. And Afa Rowe is going to chase him down for the sack, Our offense is going to put this one inside the 5-yard line for our guy A.J. So to come out and try a field goal, and he will find the angle to put it through, and the Piranhas go up 31-0. It's going to be Julius Castile getting into the end zone, just ran right into the backs of the linemen, and that's all he had to do, and it's going to be 38-0 Piranhas. And here's a sack. It's going to be off a row, but it was just outside of the end zone, so we're not going to get a safety there. And another sack for the Piranhas as Deshaun Khaled is in once again. And that is an insane interception. Oh my goodness, Mark McGinnis getting that one, but that ball was ricocheting and shot out of there, and Mark McGinnis with a diving attempt at it. In our last version of the Panthers Piranhas provocation, it's going to be a shutout victory for the Piranhas as we win 41-0 and close the book on this rivalry. We had 463 yards to Pitt's 116, and on the ground we had 220 and 2 touchdowns, while they had -18. For passing, we had 243 and they had 134. For third down, we were 2 for 12, not very good, but still better than them, where they didn't convert any. They were 0 for 11. Then for turnovers, we had 1 and they had 4. Julius Castile with 226 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was sacked twice. And unfortunately, Brady Spears had an interception with the backups. And for rushing, Marquez Hopper had a great day, 12 carries, 129 yards, and a touchdown. Julius Castile, 13 for 35 and a touchdown. And for receiving, Marquez Hopper, 2 for 97 and a touchdown. Then Kona Anatulu had 4 for 59. And then we had a touchdown catch from Keyshawn Tobin, as he was 3 of 18 with that score. Cordell Reese led us with 7 tackles today, and then for sacks, we got 3 from Deshaun Khaled, 2 from Afa Rowe, and 1 each for Nate Mowdy and Jacques Hargrove, and half a sack each for Marco Naylor, Quincy Dickey, Joseph Harbour, and Mike Edmonds. For interceptions, Mark McGinnis had 2, and 1 from David Adebaware. And then for forced fumbles, we got 1 with Deshaun Khaled. That was scooped up by Afa Rowe for a short touchdown. And then for kicking, A.J. So, he went 2 for 2 with a long of 20. Mark McGinnis was given the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. Julius Castile was dropped out of the Heisman Trophy race, but Marquez Hopper kept his second position, but was jumped by Malcolm Irving from Missouri. It's time to take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in a rematch from the playoffs last season, and they're a 99 team overall with a 3-0 record, and we've also had some classic battles against them at their place, so we'll see what this one has in store. And that's going to be intercepted by Notre Dame in the end zone, and they're going to keep us off the board. And that's going to be intercepted again by Notre Dame in the end zone. Julius Castile kind of throwing that one wildly, and Notre Dame's going to keep us off the board yet again. And here's a sack for the Piranhas. That's going to be Gerald Barmore. And there's a fumble on the play, and that's going to be dove on and recovered by Deshaun Khaled. What an athletic play from him to get to that ball, and we're going to be set up at their 5. And Marquez Hopper is going to get the touchdown, and this time we get into their red zone, and we come away with points, and it's going to be 7-0. And we're going to get a passing touchdown here. That's going to be Jared Barnes in the back of the end zone. And the Piranhas take the 14-0 lead. And deep downfield, that's going to be a skying interception for Jay Azur. And he's able to keep those feet in bounds to secure it. A.J. So will come out here for an under 1 minute left in the first half situation field goal, and he is going to put it up, and he's going to miss it wide to the left. And here's a sack for the Piranhas, a really big one there by Gerald Barmore to knock him out of field goal range. And we are going to get a touchdown here. It's going to be Quincy Daniels beating the man outside and making the touchdown. And the Piranhas will go up 21-0. It'll be another short touchdown for Marquez Hopper out of that flex bone as the Piranhas take the 28-0 lead. A field goal attempt here for AJ So from 51 yards out. And AJ is going to put this one up. And it has the distance, and he makes up for that earlier miss with a nice make there. And here's a sack for the Piranhas. It's going to be Austin Chamberlain in there, along with our guys. I can't really tell who that is, actually. I think that was a backup guy. It's Morris Kane out there on the sack. And Deshaun Khaled is going to run him down for another sack for the Piranhas. And another sack for the Piranhas on this drive as Gerald Barmore gets in there again. It will be our second straight shutout as we get the 31-0 victory over Notre Dame. Just absolutely lights out on defense. Our offense had a couple of turnovers early, but were able to find their groove as the game went along. The Piranhas had 457 yards to Notre Dame's 127, and then on the ground we had 146 and 2 touchdowns, and they had -5. For passing, we had 311 and they had 132. For third down, we were 7 for 10. They were 4 for 12. And turnovers, we both had 2. Julius Castile with 311 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he was picked off twice in the end zone, which you don't love to see, but he did bounce back pretty nicely from that, and he was not sacked. For our ground game, Marquez Hopper, 17 for 101 and 2 scores. Julius Castile, 10 for 50. Then on the receiving end, Kona Anatolu had 8 for 72. Quincy Daniels, 2 for 61 and a touchdown. Jose Hammer went out there for our guy Kashawn, who was a little banged up. He had 8 catches and 52 yards. Then Jared Barnes, 3 for 46 and a touchdown. 12 tackles for Austin Chamberlain, with 4 of them for a loss, and Darren Nasruldeen with 10 tackles and 2 for a loss. For sacks, we had 3 from Gerald Barmore, 1 from Deshaun Khaled, and half a sack each for Austin Chamberlain and Morris Kane. For interceptions, we got 1 from Jay Azur, and then on our forced fumbles, we got 1 from Darren, and that was recovered by Deshaun Khaled. And for field goal kicking, AJ So a little bit up and down. He had 1 for 2 with a long of 51. Despite a solid game, Marquez Hopper was dropped down to 5th in the Heisman Trophy list. It's time for some Big Ten Conference play as we welcome Indiana to the Piranha Tank with their 74 overall and 2-1 record. And what a beautiful toss from Julius Castile to our guy, looks like Jared Barnes, another big play for him this year, and the Peteytown Piranhas will take that early 7-0 lead. And that is going to be intercepted by the Piranhas. Didn't know if that was going to be caught, looked like it was bouncing around, but Darren Nasruldeen is going to haul it in. And it's going to be Jason Bale diving into the end zone, and Jason's got himself a touchdown, and the Piranhas will be up 14-0. And here's a sack for the Piranhas. It's going to be Gerald Barmore. The sack will lead to a field goal attempt for Indiana. It's going to be a 32-yard attempt, and their man is going to put it up, and he is going to put that through to put him on the board, and it's going to be 14-3. And we're going to stay up there. It's going to be Kona into the end zone. What a nice play from him. And the Peteytown Piranhas will go up 21-3. And Marquez Hopper with just a beautiful juke there, and that's going to get him free to get into the end zone, fighting through some guys at the end, but they just could not contest him. And it's going to be 28-3 Piranhas. And it's going to be a sack for the Piranhas. It's going to be off a row. And Marquez Hopper again is going to get the block downfield, and Marquez Hopper just looking really shifty on that one. Gets into the end zone again to make it 35-3. And here's a sack for the Piranhas. Just muscling through there is going to be Gerald Barmore. And we're going to get our guy. It's going to be, I forgot his name all of a sudden. I know his last name's Tobin, but we're going to get into the end zone with him. 42-3 is the score. Keyshawn Tobin. I don't know why I couldn't think of that, but it's Keyshawn Tobin. And trying to throw on the run, and it's going to be Mark McGinnis way down there and to the side to get that interception. And we're going to be set up right at their 20. And it's going to be Jason Bale speeding into the end zone. What a nice job by him, showing off that athleticism. And the Piranhas will strike immediately after the interception to make it 49-3. And another interception as we're going to undercut that beautifully. Austin Chamberlain is the one who grabs it, and we're right outside their red zone. It'll be a field goal attempt here for our guy AJ, and he is going to find the angle to make it 52-3. And here's a sack for the Piranhas and a forced fumble, and what a recovery there. That was a crazy recovery as our guy Morris gets that one. And it's going to be Marquez Hopper juking his way through, juking out that player, and Marquez is in for the third time today. And another sack for the Piranhas as Deshaun gets that forced fumble, but they recover it. And a big blitz here, and Austin Chamberlain is going to run him down for the sack. And it's going to be Brian Hines getting into the end zone on that screen pass. Didn't look very pretty to start, but it ended up being very pretty with his effort and the blocking. We get this big blowout victory, 66-17 over Indiana. Just nice job there by the Peteytown Piranhas. We ended up with 528 yards, and Indiana had 355. They had 31 yards on the ground and a touchdown, while we had 129 and 3 touchdowns. For passing, they had 324. We had 399. For third down, they were 3 for 12. We were 10 for 14. And for turnovers, they had 4 and we had 0. Julius Castile with an excellent game today, 388 yards, 6 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was sacked once. Then for rushing, Marquez Hopper had 11 for 86 and 3 scores. Then for our receiving guys, Keyshawn Tobin, 8 for 86 and a touchdown. Jason Bale, 6 for 78 and 2 touchdowns. Jared Barnes, 3 for 76 and a score. Then we got our guy Kona Anatolu, 4 for 75 and a touchdown. And finally, Brian Hines, 4 for 20 and 1 touchdown. Earl Callaway led us with 8 tackles today and 2 for a loss. And then for sacks, we got 2 each for Gerald Barmore, Deshaun Khaled, and 1 each for Marco Naylor, Alpha Rowe, Austin Chamberlain, and Joseph Harbor. For interceptions, we got 1 each for Austin Chamberlain, Darren Nasruldeen, and Mark McGinnis. And then we had some forced fumbles, 2 of them by Deshaun Khaled, and we got a recovery with Morris Kane. And then for our field goal kicking, AJ So came out and hit his only attempt, a 25-yarder. With his 3 touchdown effort, Marquez Hopper is at the top of the Heisman Trophy watch list. We're now going to face number 21 Michigan State with their 79 team overall and 2-1 record. And we're going to start off the game with an interception, and that's going to be a pick 6 for Darren Nasruldeen. What a way to start this one. And we're going to go up quickly, 7-0. And here's a sack. Gerald Barmore just very rudely pushed him back there. Marquez Hopper is going to get this one, and he's going to slip right past the defense to open up the scoring on our offense as it's 14-0. AJ So will come on for a straight-on field goal here, and AJ puts it up, and he is going to put it through to make it 17-0. Good job with an end-of-half drive by our offense to put A.J. So in position for a field goal, and he's going to nail it to make it 20-0. And we're going to pick that off as we cut out that route, and it's going to be Darren Nazrul-Dean again on an interception. And Julius Castile is going to get down for a sack here. Nice job by Michigan State in coverage. The sack will set up a field goal here for A.J. So, who's been pretty busy today, and he puts that up, and it'll be good for a 23-0 lead. And another interception in the middle of the field here. It's going to be Austin Chamberlain on this one, and he returns it just past the 50. And here's a sack for Michigan State. Things just broke down there for us. Marquez is going to get that spin move. What a pretty spin move there by Marquez, and we're in the end zone. We survived that earlier sack to punch this in, and it'll be 30-0 Piranhas. And here's a touchdown toss from our guy. It's going to be, I always forget his name, I don't know why, Keyshawn Tobin, there we go, from Julius Castile, and it's going to be 37-0. And it's going to be Marquez Hopper, a little flat. Oh, he's just flailing a little bit over there, but he eventually gets into the end zone. Little fun little glitch there, I guess, but we're still going to get into the end zone to make it 44-0. And that is going to be intercepted off of a deflection. What a crazy little play there. And we're going to break off that tackle, more return yards, and we're going to get it to their 40-yard line. Can't see who that is. It looks like Earl Calloway. The Piranhas get a complete and total dominant victory here over Michigan State, 44-0, as we have another shutout on the year. Just over 400 yards for the Piranhas, as we had 403 and Michigan State had 172. For the ground game, they had 52 and we had 150 and 2 touchdowns. For passing, they had 120, we had 253. For third down, they were 3 for 11, we were 5 for 9. And turnovers, they had 4 and we had 0. Julius Castile with 253 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was sacked twice. And then for our ground game, Marquez Hopper, 11 for 86 and 2 scores. Julius Castile, 12 for 63. Then for receiving, Keyshawn Tobin, 8 for 55 and a touchdown. Jared Barnes, 5 for 52. And then Marquez Hopper, 6 for 36 and a touchdown to give him 3 on the day. 13 tackles for Mark McGinnis to lead us and 3 for a loss, and Austin Chamberlain had 11 with 2 for a loss. Then for interceptions, we got 2 from Darren Nazrul-Dean, including a pick 6 to start the whole affair. Then we got interceptions from Austin Chamberlain and Earl Calloway. And then for kicking, A.J. So, 3 for 3 with a long of 48. Darren Nazrul-Dean was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. The 16th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes will visit the Piranha Tank now with their 99 team overall and 3-1 record. On our opening drive, it's going to be a field goal attempt for A.J. So, and A.J. is going to put this one up, and it is through the uprights to make it 3-0. And a sack for the Piranhas here as Deshaun Khaled gets back there. And that's going to be intercepted, so we got that sack, and then we get this interception with Mark McGinnis on back-to-back plays. Great job here by the defense. And it's going to be Marquez Hopper sprinting towards the end zone, and Marquez is in. What a nice job there. That was off a read option play, and we gave it to him, and he took care of the rest to make it 10-0. And there's a fumble on the play on a huge hit, and that's going to be recovered by Austin Chamberlain. What a play by the defense. Ohio State was threatening to score right on the doorstep, and we stopped them. And Julius Castile is going to go right up the middle, jump over a defender in the end zone, and it'll be a touchdown for the Piranhas. Very nice drive, very methodical, had to convert a few third downs, but we managed to get it all the way in to make it 17-0. And that's going to be an interception. They try to hit us over the top, but they didn't get it quite far enough out of the reach of Cordale Reese, who takes that one away. A.J. So will come out for a near end of half field goal attempt here, and it's going to go up, and looks like he's got it good, and he does, to make it 20-0. And it's going to be Keyshawn Tobin getting open for the touchdown, and the Piranhas will take a 27-0 lead. And we're going to get another interception there. They thought they had us deep, but Jay Azur is going to take it away. And it's going to be Marquez Hopper in the end zone again for the Piranhas out of that I formation. And we're going to go up 34-0. It ends up being a 34-0 final score for the Piranhas as we get yet another shutout this season. Defense playing lights out, our offense doing their thing, and Marquez Hopper scoring touchdowns just the way we like it. We had 409 yards to Ohio State's 295, and then on the ground they had 67 and we had 92 and 3 touchdowns. For passing, they had 228 and we had 317. Third down, they were 3 for 6, we were 7 for 9, and turnovers, they had 4 and we had 0. Julius Castile with 317 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, and he was not sacked. And then for our running game, Marquez Hopper, 14 for 77 and 2 scores. Julius Castile, 3 for 11 and a score. For receiving, Keyshawn Tobin had a big day, 14 catches, 145 yards, and a touchdown. Jason Bales, 6 for 50. Marquez Hopper, 6 for 41. Cordale Reese had a marvelous game today with 16 tackles and 2 for a loss. And then for sacks, we got 1 from Deshaun Khaled. On interceptions, we got 1 each for Cordale Reese, Mark McGinnis, and Jay Azur. And then for forced fumbles, we had 1. It was by Cordale Reese, and that was recovered by Austin Chamberlain. So nice job by Cordale being a part of a couple of turnovers today. And then for kicking, A.J. Snow came out. He went 2 for 2 and had a long of 49. Bit of injury news as Morris Kane will miss our next game with a dislocated elbow. The Piranhas now go on the road against Wisconsin with their 3-3 record and 82 team overall. And here's a sack for the Piranhas on the first possession of the game as Deshaun Khaled gets them. On our first offensive possession, it's going to be a field goal attempt for AJ, and he puts it up and he misses it wide to the right. And to the outside, it's going to be our guy isolated over there, Keyshawn Tobin, and we're able to get the ball to him before that defender could knock it out, and it's going to be 7-0 Piranhas. And here's a sack for the Piranhas. Our guy's getting in there, Taylor Palacio getting in. And to the outside, it's going to be Keyshawn Tobin again, and we are going to go up 14-0. And it'll be Marquez Hopper, and we have that familiar sight of him getting into the end zone out of that flexbone formation, and it's 21-0 Piranhas. And that is going to be a touchdown strike into the hands of Keyshawn Tobin, who's got 3 today. Just stood right where he needed to, the defender behind him, and Julius Castile found him to make it 28-0. And that's going to be picked off. Nice job there by our guy Jay Azur, and he breaks a tackle and returns it all the way to the 33-yard line. Great coverage by Jay. And in the end zone, it's going to be another guy just standing right where he needs to. Jared Barnes looked exactly like the other play. It was a different play call, but just kind of a similar result there, as it's going to be 35-0. Wisconsin's going to send out their field goal kicker to try to break up the shutout here, and they're going to put it up, and they do just that to make it 35-3. And Wisconsin is going to get into the end zone here. It's been a little while since we gave up a touchdown, but we do here as Wisconsin makes it 35-10. And Marquez Hopper with a brilliant cut is going to get into the end zone. Just what a run by him. He was going one way in completely reverse direction to make it 42-10. We take care of business here in Wisconsin to the tune of 42-10. Nice job all around by the Piranhas. We put forth a 449-yard effort to Wisconsin's 212. On the ground, we had 181 and 2 touchdowns, and they had 79. For passing, we had 268, and they had 133. Third down, we were 6 for 9, nice, and they were 4 for 13. And turnovers, we didn't have any, and they had 1. Julius Castile with a nice day at 268 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was not sacked. And then for rushing, our guy Marquez Hopper, 18 for 123 and 2 touchdowns. Julius Castile, 8 for 58. Then on the receiving end, Keshawn Tobin with a huge day, 14 catches, 128 yards, and 3 scores. And then it was 4 for 62 for Kona Anatolu. And we also had Jared Barnes, 2 for 19 and 1 touchdown. Austin Chamberlain with 9 tackles to lead us, and then for sacks, we had 1 from Deshaun Khaled and half a sack each for Taylor Palacio and Hakeem Bighill. For interceptions, we got that one by Jay Azur downfield, and then for our kicking game, we had a missed field goal today for AJ So. Keyshawn Tobin was the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. Marquez Hopper lost his top spot in the Heisman Trophy race as he's in second place now. It'll be another away game for the Piranhas as we take on Nebraska at their place with a 90 team overall and 4-2 record. Marquez Hopper is going to get the ball, and he is undercut by that defender, but he still manages to get the ball across the line, and we're up 7-0. We're going to get a field goal attempt from our guy AJ So, and he is going to line it up, send it up, and it is going to be good to make it 10-0. And it's going to be Marquez Hopper finding his way through there. Nice block on the outside, and it's going to lead to a touchdown, and we're going to be up 17-0. And it's going to be Julius Castile, and he is going to get into the end zone. Nice little sprint there from him. Things just opened up, and he got in to make it 24-0. And Nebraska's going to get in here. It was a 4th down play, and they went with a run, and it worked out for them. And it's going to be 24-7. AJ's going to test himself here with a 60-yard field goal attempt at the end of the half, and it is going to be good. So very impressive there from AJ, and we're going to make this one 27-7. And it's going to be Brian Hines this time getting into the end zone, doing a little dance to get in there, and the Piranhas will be up 34-7. And that's going to be picked off by Nebraska. That guy disguised his zone perfectly. Our guy didn't see him, and he was able to pick it off. And that's going to count as a sack for Nate Mowdy. I didn't even realize it. It looked like a read option, but I guess it was more of an RPO. And we're going to get the pick right back, and this one's going to be in the end zone, and it's Nate Mowdy bringing it out, and now Nate has a chance to bring this one all the way back for a touchdown, and he will do just that. What a big play defensively, as we're going to go up 41-7. And here's a sack for the Piranhas on the next drive. That's going to be Deshaun Khaled. And we're going to pick off another one here as Darren Nasruddin is going to cut underneath and grab that one. And our guy Marquez Hopper is going to finish off the drive after the interception to put us up 48-7. And it's going to be Marquez Hopper again with a beautiful juke move, and Marquez Hopper is in the end zone, breaking tackles, making juke moves, just showing the whole package there as we go up 55-7. And we're going to reach up and grab that one with Darren Nasraldine as he has another interception in this game. And Jason Bale is going to get a turn at a touchdown here, and he will get around the defender to do so. And we are going to go up a very impressive 62-7. And at this point, it's kind of overkill, I understand, but want these guys to get these stats on the last year, see if we can get some awards and whatnot. But just want to see these guys have some fun out there. This game has come to an end here as we have the 62-7 victory over Nebraska. Just an all-around dominant effort from the Peteytown Piranhas. In this one, we had 531 yards to Nebraska's 262. On the ground, we had 194 and 6 touchdowns, and they had 51 and a touchdown. For passing, we had 337, and they had 211. On third down, we were 8 for 9, and they were 5 for 13. And turnovers, we had 1, and they had 3. Julius Castile with 337 yards, 1 touchdown, and that 1 interception that I won't really blame him for. That was a great defensive play, and he was not sacked. And for the ground game, Marquez Hopper, 16 for 144 and 4 touchdowns. Just a great game overall. Then Julius Castile, 6 for 41 and a touchdown. And our guy Brian Hines with a 3-yard touchdown. And then for receiving, Jason Bale, 4 for 96 in that touchdown. Then we got Keyshawn Tobin, 9 for 79. Then Quincy Daniels, 3 for 64. Brian Hines, 5 for 47. And Marquez Hopper, 4 for 35. Cordell Reese was flying everywhere today with 17 tackles and 1 for a loss. And then Nate Mowdy had a huge day, 12 tackles, 5 for a loss. Then for sacks, Nate had 1 and another one from Deshaun Khaled. And for interceptions, we got 2 with Darren Nasraldine and a 100-yard pick 6 from Nate Mowdy. And then for kicking, AJ So had 2 for 2 with a long of 60. Nate Mowdy was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. Nate was also the National Defensive Player of the Week. Marquez Hopper was the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. After that excellent performance, Marquez Hopper is back on top for the Heisman Trophy. Our next opponent will be USC with their 5-2 record and 97 team overall on the year, and they're ranked number 15. It's going to be a very familiar sight to Piranhas fans as Marquez Hopper is in the end zone once again for us. Nice blocking on the edge, and Marquez does the rest to make it 7-0. And it's going to be Kona Anatolu taking this one all the way for the Piranhas. Just nice job weaving around the defense to get himself into space. And we're going to go up 14-0. And it's going to be Marquez Hopper off that screen pass. He was able to just slice right up the middle of the defense thanks to some blocks and his own physicality. And it's going to be 21-0 Piranhas. And we're going to get him out of the backfield on a little wheel route. It's going to be Brian Hines in the end zone. Nice find from Julius Castile. And we're going to go up 28-0. And we're going to pick that one off. Nice cutoff there. And we're going to return this one for a pick 6. Goodbye, Jay Azur. What a play by Jay. And we're going to go up 35-0. And here's a sack for the Piranhas. Deshaun Khaled getting back there. And that's going to be a sack for USC, it looks like. A 3-yard loss on that RPO draw. And it's going to be Keyshawn Tobin getting in this time on that crossing pattern. And the Piranhas will take the 42-0 lead. And he's going to throw that one straight into a pick by Austin Chamberlain. He didn't see him there, and Austin just lurked him very, very beautifully. And off that RPO slant play, it's going to be our guy Kona Anatolu getting into the end zone again to make it 49-0. The Piranhas are going to take care of USC in blowout fashion, 56-7, just everything working today for the Piranhas, and our offense was just off the charts, and our defense doing their thing as well. On the day, our offense had 587 yards, and USC was able to move the ball, just couldn't score much as they had 326 yards. On the ground, they had 18. We had 226 and a touchdown. For passing, they had 308, and we had 361. For third down, they were 3 for 11. We were 8 for 10. And turnovers, they had 2, and we had 0. An excellent day for Julius Castile as he had 312 yards, 5 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was sacked once on that RPO draw. And then for Brady Spears, he had 49 yards and a touchdown. For rushing, Marquez Hopper was big, 15 carries, 162 yards, and a touchdown. Then Ben Way had 8 for 33. Then for receiving, Kona Anatolu had a big day, 5 catches, 152 yards, and 2 scores. Then Keyshawn Tobin, 8 for 60 and a touchdown. Jason Bale, 4 for 57. Rakeem Dexter, 2 for 44 and a touchdown. Marquez Hopper, 2 for 21 and a score. And then our guy Brian Hines, 2 for 11 and a touchdown. As we get into the defensive stats, sorry about the construction going on in the background. They're doing some stuff by my apartment, so it is what it is. But anyway, by the numbers on defense, we got Earl Callaway with 10 tackles and 1 for a loss. Then for sacks, we got 1 from Deshaun Khaled. On the interceptions, we got 1 from Jay Azur that he took 68 yards back to the house, and then 1 from Austin Chamberlain. After we had our bye week, Marquez Hopper is now in second place for the Heisman Trophy behind Oklahoma QB Tremaine Beard. We are on the road again as we travel to Purdue to take on the Boilermakers, who are 75 overall and 2-8 on the season. And it's another Marquez Hopper touchdown there. A little jump cut helps him get the separation he needs on that run, and the blocking lined up, and it's going to be 7-0 Piranhas. And here's a sack for the Piranhas off a row, and Taylor Palacio getting back there. And Marquez Hopper, just an incredible spin move, and he is gone. Marquez Hopper, just a beautiful run there. Just love watching him all season long doing his thing, and he continues it as we go up 14-0. And here's a sack for the defense. It was Gerald Barmore getting there along with Taylor Palacio and off a row. And incoming sack here as Nate Mowdy came screaming off a blitz and got to the quarterback. And that's going to be intercepted by Purdue, trying to hit our man over the middle, but he's able to lurk us. And we're going to get a pick right back as Mark McGinnis just steps in front of that one, and Mark is going to have a lane to the end zone, and he brings it all the way back. Just excellent zone coverage, textbook fundamentals by Mark, and it's going to be 21-0. And Deshaun Khaled, what a move to get by that blocker there, just using a little speed rush. And a nice RPO play there where they're going to hit their guy on that post route to make it 21-7. And Julius Castile is going to be sacked, trying to make something happen near the end of the first half. And he is going to get brought down by Gerald Barmore. Taylor Palacio was in pursuit, but Gerald's the one who sneaks in and gets him. And we're going to get a touchdown here. Kona Anatolu is going to get this one. Had a nice little streak of touchdowns going for him with 3 in the last 2 games. And a sack for the Piranhas as Morris Keene gets back there for our 6th sack of the game. And it's going to be our guy Keyshawn Tobin coming back and grabbing that one in the end zone, and we're going to go up 35-7. It's going to be Marquez Hopper with a little simple handoff there into the end zone on his third score of the day, and we go up 42-7. On this day, the Peteytown Piranhas take down Purdue 49-14, another great day for Marquez Hopper and co. We were able to get 526 yards, and Purdue had 252. On the ground, we had 247 and 4 touchdowns, and they had -31. For passing, we had 279, and they had 283. Third down, we were 5 for 9, they were 2 for 14. And turnovers, we had 1, and they had 2. Julius Castile finished with 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception, and he was sacked once. And then for rushing, Marquez Hopper, 13 for 102 and 3 scores. Julius Castile, 8 for 69, nice. And Ben Way with 4 for 65 and a touchdown. For receiving, Keyshawn Tobin, 7 for 76 and a touchdown. Kona Anatolu, 4 for 66 and a touchdown. And Marquez Hopper, 5 for 47. Mark McGinnis led us today with 14 tackles and 4 for a loss, and then for sacks, we had 1.5 each for Taylor Palacio and Gerald Barmore, 1 each for Afa Rowe and Morris Kane, and half a sack for Nate Mowdy and Deshaun Khaled. For interceptions, we got 1 from Quincy Dickey, and Mark McGinnis with all those tackles also contributed a pick 6 of 34 yards. With his all-around day, Mark McGinnis was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. And Mark was also the National Defensive Player of the Week. One more time, we're going to go to Happy Valley to take on the Penn State Nittany Lions. They're ranked number 9 with a 9-2 record this year and a 99 team overall, and it's a place where we've had great success, so hopefully we can end it here with some great success again. And we're going to get a pick there. It's going to be Jay Azur, and he's tackled before he can bring it back all the way. It looked like it might have been tipped. Couldn't really tell what happened there. It happened so fast, but we're going to be set up very nicely. And it's going to be Marquez Hopper, the familiar sight of him on that short touchdown run, and we're going to go up 7-0. After our touchdown, Penn State's going to set up a 57-yard field goal attempt, and he's going to send it on its way. And it is going to be good, so very nice kick there. And it's going to be Julius Castile this time getting a rushing score right up the middle there, and it's going to be 14-3 Piranhas. And Taylor Palacio is going to get around that tackle and bring him down for a 3-yard loss on the sack. And another sack here is Deshaun Khaled is going to get back there along with Taylor Palacio. Little deja vu here as it's Marquez Hopper on that short touchdown again for the Piranhas, and we are going to extend our lead to 21-3. And Julius Castile with a free runway into the end zone. Nice job by the second level blocking, and the Piranhas will go up 28-3. And here's a sack for the Piranhas. It's going to be our 2 edges on that. It's going to be Taylor Palacio and Afa Rowe. And we're going to get that pick. Austin Chamberlain coming underneath that deeper route and getting that, and it's going to be Piranha's ball. And this is going to be Marquez Hopper making this catch, making a juke, and Marquez Hopper is in the end zone this time through the air, just showing off those moves, and he's got his 3rd touchdown of the day. And that crossing pattern is going to get open for the Penn State Nittany Lions for a touchdown. They got their fireworks going in the background as they're down 25. And we're going to get a big pass here on the pop pass, and it's going to be Keyshawn Tobin, and he is gone. Whoa, what a play there. We threw out that pop pass because we have that for run-out-the-clock situations. Didn't think it was going to happen this early, but it is the 4th quarter, so I guess I should have known better. But Keyshawn Tobin is going to make it 42-10. The Peteytown Piranhas get this 42-10 victory over Penn State, and we always, as usual, we send these fans of Happy Valley home unhappy and just keep on rolling on into our final game of the regular season next game. In this game, the Piranhas had 463 yards to Penn State's 278. On the ground, we had 177 and 4 touchdowns, and they had 55. For the passing game, we had 286 and they had 223. For third down, we were 7 for 8. They were 3 for 8. And turnovers, we didn't have any and they had 2. Julius Castile with a great all-around game today with 286 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was not sacked. And then for the ground game, Marquez Hopper had 20 carries, 112 yards, and 2 scores. Julius Castile, 11 for 63 and 2 touchdowns. And then for receiving, Keshawn Tobin, 5 for 123 and a touchdown. Marquez Hopper, 3 for 56 and a touchdown. 9 tackles apiece for Austin Chamberlain and Cordell Reese, and then for sacks, we had 2 from Taylor Palacio and half a sack for Afa Rowe and Deshaun Khaled. For interceptions, we got 1 from Austin Chamberlain and another from Jay Azur. With that really great all-around game, Marquez Hopper put himself back in first place for the Heisman Trophy. There's a lot going on for this final regular season game of the Dynasty as we take on our rivals Miami with their 99 team overall, number 4 ranking, and 10-1 record. And we also have a streak on the line where we're trying to get to 21 straight seasons without losing a regular season game. And of course, this is the last time we're going to play in the Piranha Tank, so very emotional. So just so many things going through our minds and hearts right now, but hopefully we can close this one out with a win. And we can see our record against Miami over the years. We are 12-1 against them. They're our only rivals who have ever beaten us, so we'll see what happens in this latest chapter. Trying a deep ball to the end zone. We got the positioning and we got the interception with Jay Azur, and he takes a knee in the end zone to bring it out to the 20. Great job by Jay. And Miami is going to get in with a touchdown here, and I believe this is the first time we've trailed in a game all season. And it's going to be Marquez Hopper getting to the outside. Marquez Hopper is going to score. What a run there. That spin move at the beginning, and then he was able to get that ball to hit the pylon and get in, and we're going to tie this one back up immediately. And there's a fumble on the play, and that's going to be picked up with one hand by Jay Azur, and Jay is in the end zone. What a play. I don't know if that was really a fumble, but we're not going to question it, as Jay Azur is going to make it 14-7. And he skies that one, and that is going to be a jumping interception for Cordell Reese. What a play by Cordell. And it's going to be Keshawn Tobin this time getting into the end zone on that crossing pattern, and the Peteytown Piranhas will take the 21-7 lead. And a sack for the Piranhas here as Afa Rowe brings him down. And that is going to be caught by Quincy Daniels. A lot of traffic over there, but Quincy's able to haul it in for a 28-7 lead. And we're going to pick that one off. Coming up in the coverage is Earl Calloway, and now Earl has a path to the end zone, and he will score. Earl Calloway with an electrifying pick 6 there, and the Piranhas will take the 35-7 lead. And Taylor Palacio eventually is going to be the one who brings him down for the sack. And the bubble screen is going to work out for Miami as they were able to rebound from that pick 6 and score a touchdown here before the end of the half. Excellent response from our offense to get in field goal position after that touchdown from Miami, but unfortunately we're going to miss it wide to the right with AJ. And it's going to be our guy Keshawn Tobin in the end zone again on that crosser, just running around the defense, and the Piranhas will take the 42-14 lead. And here's a sack for the Piranhas, brought down by a couple of guys, including Taylor Palacio. This field goal attempt from Miami will be from 48 yards out, and their kicker is going to put it up and put it in to make it 42-17. And it's going to be Keyshawn Tobin again in the end zone, I believe the third time he's made his trip there, and the Piranhas will go up 49-17. And we are going to get that interception. Jay Azur with another one in the end zone to prevent Miami from scoring here. The Peteytown Piranhas say goodbye to the Piranha Tank with a 49-17 victory over Miami in the fight for the Piranha Cane Trophy, and we extend that regular season winning streak to 21 seasons. Just absolutely incredible for our boys, and now we're going to gear up for our final postseason. In our final home game, we had 461 yards to Miami's 377, and then on the ground, they had 42 and a touchdown. We had 209 and a touchdown. For passing, they outgained us here 335 to 252. Third down, they were 8 for 12, we were 7 for 8, and turnovers, they had 5 and we had 0. Julius Castile with a great day today, 252 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was not sacked. On the ground, Marquez Hopper with 17 for 126 and a touchdown, and Julius Castile 7 for 50. For receiving, Kona Anatolu had 9 for 105. Then Keyshawn Tobin, 7 for 65 and 3 touchdowns. Jason Bale, 4 for 42. And Marquez Hopper, 5 for 35. And then we got 2 catches, 2 yards, and a touchdown from Quincy Daniels. 10 tackles today for Darren Nasruldeen, and then for sacks, we got 1.5 from Taylor Palacio, 1 from Afa Rowe, and half a sack for Morris Kane. For interceptions, Jay Azur got 2, both of them in the end zone, and then Earl Callaway brought his back to the end zone for a 51-yard pick 6, and 1 interception from Cordell Reese. And then for kicking, unfortunately, our guy AJ So missed his only attempt. After our final home game, I wanted to see what our winning streak was at the Piranha Tank, and it got up to 126, so that is just absolutely remarkable. In the Big Ten Championship, I don't see any other team it could have been because we played Michigan in this game so many times, so it's going to be them once again for the final time in the Big Ten Championship, and it's going to be number 1 versus number 2. Heading into the conference championships, our guy Marquez Hopper is still at the top of the list for the Heisman Trophy, but right behind him is Tremaine Beard from Oklahoma, and we're also going to be facing a Heisman Trophy candidate with Michigan's wide receiver, Max Chabera. It's going to be a big-time matchup in this Big Ten championship with number 2 Michigan with their 97 team overall and undefeated record. And, of course, we're trying to make it 20 straight Big Ten championships won. And we're also trying to see if we can make it the whole way without ever losing a Big Ten game while being a part of the conference. So that would be a feat unto itself. And in the end zone, it is going to be our guy Jason Bale on that crosser out of the bunch formation, and we strike early to make it 7-0. And that is going to count as a sack for Michigan, as that was an RPO draw. After a defensive stop, our offense is able to get it into the red zone to set up a field goal attempt for AJ So, and it's going to be 10-0. And Gerald Barmore is eventually going to get in there for the sack. And Marquez Hopper is going to fit through there and get the block downfield, and our Heisman Trophy candidate has found his way into the end zone in this Big Ten championship to make it 17-0. And a sack is going to be from the blitz by Nate Mowdy. And Marquez Hopper is going to be left wide open over there. I don't know why you would do that with the Heisman Trophy leading candidate, but he is in again with a receiving touchdown on that orbit play we love so much, and it's going to be 24-0 Piranhas. We're going to see a 59-yard field goal attempt from AJ So straight on here in the middle of the field. AJ is going to launch it. It's got the distance and it has the accuracy, and it's going to be 27-0. And a field goal attempt from Michigan is going to be good before the end of the half to make it 27-3. It'll be another field goal attempt for Michigan after they got it inside of our 10, but our defense held, and they are going to make that to make it 27-6. And we're going to get that interception, and it's going to be Austin Chamberlain bringing it back, a stiff arm to boot, and he gets it back to the 30-yard line. That big hit jarred it loose, and Austin Chamberlain was right where he needed to be. And Marquez Hopper is in the end zone for the third time today, getting around that edge. Defender tried all he could, but could not keep him out, and it'll be 34-6. And the quarterback doesn't know what to do, and Taylor Palacio is going to bring him down along with Deshaun Khaled. I will admit I forgot to announce a touchdown that Michigan got just because I was so mad with how they were going down the field. A lot of lucky catches and different things going on. I was just so upset that I forgot to announce it, so I'm just going to show it here. Simply just a little carry into the end zone for their running back. A.J. So will come out for a field goal attempt after Michigan's touchdown drive, and A.J. puts this up, and it is good again for him to make it 37-14. And here's a sack, Gerald Barmore getting back there. Throwing it up here into the end zone, and that is going to be intercepted by the Piranhas, and that'll be the exclamation point in this game. It's going to be Mark McGinnis coming away with it. For the 20th straight time, the Peteytown Piranhas are the Big Ten champions after this 37-13 victory over Michigan. So many battles with them in this conference championship game, and we take it away from them again. Love to see it from our guys, and this also means that as a member of the Big Ten Conference, we never lost a Big Ten Conference game, so I think that's really special and something that we can just really celebrate, and of course happy with this Big Ten championship. Looking forward to the playoffs, of course, our last playoff run, and we're going to celebrate one last time with the Big Ten championship trophy. In very special news, our guy Marquez Hopper has set the school record for single-season rushing touchdowns. The offensive yards in this game were pretty close, as we had 333 and they had 301. For rushing, they had 23 yards and a touchdown, and we had 169 and 2 touchdowns. For passing, they had 278, we had 164. For third down, they were 4 for 13 and we were 3 for 7. And turnovers, they had 2 and we had 0. Julius Castile was not asked to do a whole lot today, but what he was asked to do, he did it effectively with 164 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was sacked once. On the ground, Marquez Hopper showed that he is definitely Heisman Trophy worthy with 21 carries, 132 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Julius Castile, 11 for 39. And then for receiving, Marquez Hopper was our leader here as well. 5 catches, 72 yards, and a touchdown. Then Keyshawn Tobin, 5 for 45. And then a 6-yard touchdown grab by Jason Bale. On this day, Austin Chamberlain had 14 tackles and 2 for a loss, while Mark McGinnis had 11 and 1 for a loss. For sacks, we had 2 from Gerald Barmore, 1 from Nate Mowdy, and half a sack for Taylor Palacio and Deshaun Khaled. For interceptions, we got 1 from Austin Chamberlain and the other from Mark McGinnis. And for field goal kicking, A.J. So, he was 3 for 3 with a long of 59. Mark McGinnis was the defensive player of the game in the Big Ten Championship. Marquez Hopper was the offensive player of the game. Marquez Hopper was also named the best offensive player throughout all the conference championships. Our guy Dowell Loggins won the Broyles Award as Coordinator of the Year. Marquez Hopper was named the Walter Camp Award winner. Marquez was also the Maxwell Award winner. For the 7th time in Peteytown Piranhas history, we have a Heisman Trophy winner with Marquez Hopper. He is the second running back ever to do so for our program, and just completely proud of him for what he's done this year. He was so special all year long, making touchdowns, making plays all over the place. Just absolutely wonderful to see this. Julius Castile was named the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award winner. Mark McGinnis was the Chuck Bednarik Award winner. Mark was also the Bronco Nagurski Trophy winner. No surprise here that Marquez Hopper won the Doak Walker Award. Completing an amazing run of 30 straight John Mackey Awards is Keyshawn Tobin. We also brought home the Jim Thorpe Award with Darren Nasraldine. Alec Murphy got himself a Remington Trophy. Mark McGinnis adds another award this year with a Dick Butkus Award. For the Heisman Trophy finalists, of course, we have Marquez Hopper at the top of the list, and then Oklahoma's Tremaine Beard in second. In third place was Southern Mississippi's QB Brian Titus, then Michigan's wide receiver Max Chabera, and then finally Arkansas's QB Jay Ruggs. For the final college football playoff bracket in this dynasty, we're going to have number 5 Notre Dame taking on number 12 NC State, number 8 Georgia Tech versus number 9 Georgia, number 6 Oregon versus number 11 San Diego State, and number 7 Oklahoma versus number 10 Clemson. Then we're the number 1 seed, TCU's number 2, number 3 is Michigan, and number 4 is Texas. In the quarterfinal game, we're going to have to take on number 9 seed Georgia at the Rose Bowl. Not that it really matters at this point, but I think it's pretty funny that Dowell Loggins won the award for the coordinator of the year, but it was our defensive coordinator who decided to leave. In the first round of the playoff, Notre Dame took down NC State by a possession, then Georgia took down Georgia Tech by 10, Oregon beat San Diego State by 8, and Oklahoma also won by 8 over Clemson. In the quarterfinal, it's going to set up Texas versus Notre Dame, us versus Georgia, Michigan versus Oregon, and TCU Oklahoma. We're now going to play a team that we've faced in the playoffs before and handle them with pretty good success. I'm thinking of that game at their place where Anthony Kaufman had 4 interceptions and just brings back some really fun memories. So we'll see what kind of memories form in this game as we take them on in the Rose Bowl with their 84 team overall, number 9 seed, and 10-2 record. And that is going to count as a sack for Alpha Rowe on that RPO play. And that is going to be picked off by Georgia, and they're running down the hash mark, trying to get away from Julius Castile, but Julius is able to run him down, so trying a little shot play on the 4 verts, but they were all over it. And that screen is going to work out for Georgia, and they're going to take the lead here after that interception. And Marquez Hopper is in the end zone as the Heisman Trophy winner helps us tie this game back up. And he tried the deep ball, but it looked like Darren Nasruldeen was pretty much the receiver on that play as he went up and caught that one. Almost forgot the name of our Jim Thorpe Award winner, and that would have been very silly of me. And in the back of the end zone, it's going to be Quincy Daniels making that secure catch, and the Piranhas will take their first lead of the ball game. And here's a sack. It's going to be Alpha Rowe once again. And once again, it's going to be a sack for us. It's Taylor Palacio and Deshaun Khaled in on him. And there's a fumble on the play. It's bouncing around out there, and Georgia's going to recover it. Our guy Julius trying to reach the ball out and making a first down, but they forced it out. And nowhere for the quarterback to go as we fill those gaps up, and it's going to be Morris Kane and friends. And that's going to be another interception for Georgia. Julius Castile trying to hit an outside route. I think he had our guy Keyshawn over the middle, but he went for broke there, and he got broken. Just, Julius has been taking care of the ball so well all season long, but today just having some struggles with it. And we are going to get an interception right back here. Great job there in coverage. That's going to be our guy Austin Chamberlain downfield, and we're going to take away that scoring opportunity from Georgia. Our offense gets into Georgia's red zone, and we're going to settle for this field goal with A.J. So, and A.J. puts it through to make it 17-7. And it's going to be the John Mackey Award winner, Keyshawn Tobin, in the end zone for the Piranhas as we extend it to 24-7. Georgia's going to line up a field goal here, and their kicker sends it on its way, and he is going to make it 24-10. And it's going to be Marquez Hopper getting free on that angle route, and Marquez is in again for the Peteytown Piranhas, and it's going to be 31-10. And Deshaun Khaled is going to bring him down, eventually getting free for our 5th sack of the game. And that is a pick by Jay Azur, skying for that one, and he's out of bounds, but Jay Azur with a great play downfield, and both of our corners making their presence felt in this game. And that's going to be another pick for Georgia. I have no idea why we're passing in this situation, but it is what it is as Quincy Daniels chases him down. Just 4 turnovers on the day for Julius Castile. And Georgia is going to get into the end zone here, taking advantage of the interception, and now they're within 2 scores. And that is going to be the first down that seals it. Nice throw there from Julius Castile. And we're going to be able to set up the QB kneel formation for our guy Julius. And he will do just that right here. And the rest of the time runs down. And the Peteytown Piranhas get this quarterfinal victory, 31-17. The team really rallied around Julius Castile, who had a struggle today with the turnovers with 4 in total, but our defense was able to step up when needed to, and our guys on offense helped support Julius through it by making plays for him and getting touchdowns. Just over 500 yards for our offense as we had 503 to Georgia's 211. For the running game, they had -4 and we had 219 and a touchdown. For passing, they had 215 and we had 284. For third down, they were 3 for 11, we were 5 for 8. And turnovers, they had 3 and we had 4, so a whole bunch of those today. It was a struggle day for Julius Castile for sure, as he had 284 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, and he was not sacked. For our running game, Marquez Hopper led the way, 23 carries, 139 yards, and a touchdown. Julius Castile, 8 for 65, and he had that fumble. And then for receiving, Kona Onatulu had 7 for 85, Jason Bale 5 for 72, Keyshawn Tobin 5 for 52 and a touchdown, Marquez Hopper 3 for 26 and a touchdown, and Quincy Daniels 4 for 24 and a touchdown. On defense, Mark McGinnis had 8 tackles today, and then for sacks, we had 3 from Alpha Rowe, who also had 5 TFLs, then 1.5 sacks for Deshaun Khaled, half a sack each for Morris Kane and Taylor Palacio. For interceptions, we got 1 with Darren Nasraldine, another with Austin Chamberlain, and Jay Azur grabbed 1 as well. And then for field goal kicking, AJ So, he was 1 for 1 with a 34-yarder. It's kind of amazing how these postseason games are lining up with teams that we've had history with. You got Michigan with the Big Ten Championship, where we faced them a lot in that game. Georgia, who we've had playoff history with. And now it's going to be Texas here with their number 4 seed, a team that we kind of struggled with when we were in the SEC, but eventually got over that hump and really have taken care of them since. But just kind of interesting how that's all playing out here. In the quarterfinal, of course, Texas took down Notre Dame by 12 points, and then on the other side, Oregon took down Michigan, and Oklahoma really blew out TCU in that 7-2 matchup. So on the other side of the bracket, it's going to be 6-7 with Oregon and Oklahoma, and of course us versus Texas. The Texas Longhorns come in with a 97 team overall and 12-2 record on the year, so we'll see how this final matchup with them goes. Our defense is going to hold Texas to a field goal on the first possession of the game, and they are going to knock it through, and it's going to be 3-0. And we're going to find our man, it looks like Jason Bale, in the end zone, so nice job on those crossers to get free, and we're going to take the lead at 7-3. And he's going to get chased down and brought down by, looks like, Alpha Rowe and Morris Kane. And that is going to be picked off by the Piranhas. Doug Silvestro getting one here and running around, and he is going to get to the 38-yard line. Thought he might have just been knocking it down, but he was able to secure it, and we're going to take over. And it's going to be Julius Castile taking off, and Julius Castile is going to fight through three Texas Longhorns. Can't speak. I'm just so flabbergasted and I don't know what I'm saying. I just love Julius Castile for taking on all those guys, getting into the end zone, and it's 14-3. It's going to be Marquez Hopper pushing his way into the end zone, lowers that shoulder, and just drives through the defender to make it 21-3. Near the end of the first half, it's going to be an A.J. So field goal attempt, and A.J. puts it up, and he's going to put it through to make it 24-3. And Marquez Hopper getting around the edge, and Marquez Hopper stiff arms his way into the end zone. The Heisman Trophy winner just having a great game out there as we make it 31-3. Another field goal attempt for A.J. So right before the end of the third quarter, and A.J. is going to put this one up, and he puts it right through the middle to make it 34-3. Things got a little dicey there with the backups, but we're able to hold on for this 34-24 victory over Texas, and we are going to see ourselves in the national championship once again, and that will be the final game in this dynasty. In the national championship, it's going to be us versus another Big Ten team, Oregon, with their number 6 seed. Well, everybody, here it is, the final game in the Peteytown Piranhas College Football 26 Dynasty. It's been a long road to get here, but we're excited to be here, and it's going to be a national championship against number 6 seed Oregon with their 90 team overall and 13-2 record. And I mentioned previously how the previous games in the postseason have had historical relevance to the Piranhas. This one is no different, as Oregon is the first team we ever beat to win a national championship, so I think that's pretty special. And also special is that we're trying to make it 14 straight national championships won and 14 straight undefeated seasons to close out this dynasty, so a lot on the line here and just really looking forward to it. After a defensive stop to open the game, our offense on their first possession sets up a field goal attempt for A.J. So, and A.J. is going to put that through to give us the early lead. Oregon is going to try to match our field goal from the last drive with one of their own, and they're going to put up the kick, and it is going to go through, and they're going to tie it up. And we're going to pick that off. Mark McGinnis getting over there and showing us why he's an award winner. And he's going to return that all the way back for a pick 6. Mark McGinnis with a great play there. And the Piranhas are going to go up 10-3. And Jason Bale is going to shrug off that tackler, and he is gone. What a play from Jason. Nice job by Julius putting that ball on him. And it's going to be 17-3 Piranhas. And it's going to be down the sideline for Keyshawn Tobin, and Keyshawn is in the end zone off that RPO flat play from way out. The blocking lined up perfectly for him, and he took care of the rest. And it's going to be 24-3 Piranhas. And Marquez Hopper, a little juke move, and the Heisman Trophy winner has made a visit to the end zone here, the national championship, as we go up 31-3. And Jason Bale has made a second visit to the end zone here. Got a little choked up there, but it's going to be 38-3 Piranhas. And that is another pick for the Piranhas. Mark McGinnis again on one, and he's going to return it to their 12. And Marquez Hopper uses that flexbone play once again here in the national championship to score a touchdown, and it's going to be 45-3. And that is going to be an interception. Are you serious? Gerald Barmore is going to somehow find that and catch that and bring it all the way back for a pick 6. That is just one of the craziest plays you'll ever see. One of the craziest plays in our dynasty's 30-year history. And it's going to be 52-3. And Julius Castile is going to take this one himself right up the middle for the Piranhas to make it 59-3. And as tradition goes, we always show all the highlights in the national championship, so if the Piranhas keep producing them, I'll keep showing them. And Keyshawn Tobin in the end zone on our signature play here in the red zone with that tight end crossing over the field. And it's going to be 66-3. And Alpha Rowe is going to chase him down, as well as Taylor Palacio to bring him down for the sack. And that's going to be intercepted by Oregon, unfortunately. Tried the pop pass, but the defender stayed with it the whole way, and Julius just threw it up there and said, well, why not? Into the end zone, it's going to be Oregon making that touchdown, and they just went right in front of our defender there, and it's going to be 66-10. And it's going to be Marquez Hopper sprinting towards the end zone, and Marquez Hopper makes that touchdown, and that'll probably be the last touchdown ever scored by the Peteytown Piranhas, and it's an electrifying one indeed by our Heisman Trophy winner, Marquez Hopper. It's very fitting that the final play in the Peteytown Piranhas dynasty is going to be a quarterback kneel, as Julius Castile does that, and that last second has come off the scoreboard as the Peteytown Piranhas celebrate a national championship, their 14th straight and 22nd of all time, and just so incredibly proud what the Piranhas have done over this 30-year dynasty, just all coming to a head here, just so many emotions going through my head, so many memories of things that the Piranhas have done, and I think it's very fun that that last touchdown scored was by Marquez Hopper. Got to go all the way back to year one in our first game, Pete Dinklage getting the first touchdown in Piranhas history, and all the touchdowns and exciting things that have happened since then. Just so incredibly proud of this team, everything we've done, and Julius Castile having a very nice game in his final game here, and just everybody celebrating together. And interception, of course, being on the highlight reel, a little bit of a fun time thing by our game, but it is what it is, just waiting to see our guys celebrate one last time. There it is, everybody celebrating with the national championship trophy. Marquez Hopper has broken another school record for career rushing touchdowns. One last game recap here, as we had 543 yards to Oregon's 231. On the ground, they had 12, and we had 167 and 4 touchdowns. For passing yards, they had 219. We had 376. For third downs, they were 3 for 13. We were 8 for 10. And turnovers, they had 3, and we had 1. Julius Castile with a very nice day, 376 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception, and he was not sacked. For our running game, Marquez Hopper finished off his Heisman campaign with 19 carries, 139 yards, and 3 scores. And Julius Castile, 5 for 25 and a touchdown. For our receiving, Keyshawn Tobin, 8 for 105 and 2 scores. Very fitting that a tight end had a big game in our last game. Then Kona Anatolu had 8 for 89. Jason Bale, 5 for 86 and 2 scores. Quincy Daniels, 6 for 53. And then for defense, we got 11 tackles for Earl Callaway, 10 from Austin Chamberlain and Mark McGinnis. And then for sacks, we got 1 with Taylor Palacio, and then 2 interceptions from Mark McGinnis, including a pick 6, and Gerald Barmore on one of the craziest plays you'll ever see. He got an interception that he returned 35 yards for a touchdown. And then for kicking, AJ So came out and hit a 56-yarder. Mark McGinnis was your defensive player of the game in the national championship. Marquez Hopper was the offensive player of the game in the national championship. Recapping our season stats, Julius Castile had 4,618 yards, 45 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. On the ground, Heisman Trophy winner Marquez Hopper had 249 carries, 1,761 yards, and 32 touchdowns. Julius Castile, 122 carries, 652 yards, and 7 touchdowns. On the receiving front, Keyshawn Tobin, 116 catches, 1,205 yards, and 18 touchdowns. And then Kona Anatolu had 82 for 1,053 and 5 touchdowns. Jason Bale, 53 for 655 and 7 touchdowns. Mark McGinnis was our leading tackler at 128, and behind him was Austin Chamberlain with 111 and 109 by Cordell Reese. For for TFLs, we got 24 from Mark McGinnis and also Taylor Palacio, 22 for Alpha Rowe and Deshaun Khaled, 21 for Gerald Barmore, and 20 for Morris Kane. For sacks, we got 13 from Deshaun Khaled and 10.5 from Alpha Rowe. For interceptions, we got 8 for Mark McGinnis and Jay Azur, and 6 for Austin Chamberlain and Darren Nasraldine. And then for defensive touchdowns, we got 2 from Mark and 2 from Jay. Then for pass deflections, 14 by Darren and 13 by Mark McGinnis. And then forced fumbles, we got 3 from Deshaun Khaled to lead us. And recoveries, we got 1 each for Deshaun, Morris, Jay, Alpha, and Austin Chamberlain. And then for any blocks, no blocks this year, no safeties. And that was pretty much the defensive stats there. So for kicking, AJ So, this season he went, 19 for 22, 86%, and a long of 60. As for career stats, Julius Castile finished with 5,296 yards, 51 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. For our running game, Marquez Hopper, 5'11", 3509, and 52 touchdowns. And then for Julius Castile, he had 151, 765, and 10 touchdowns. For the receiving front, all these guys were pretty much transfers. Jason Bale was with us, 75 catches, 1,002 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Marquez Hopper, 92 for 910, and 7 touchdowns. Mark McGinnis finished his career with 271 tackles, 40 for a loss, and 16 interceptions. And then he also had 2 defensive touchdowns and 24 pass deflections. Earl Callaway had a few starting seasons with us, and he finished with 231 tackles, 10 for a loss, and 5 interceptions. And then he also had 1 defensive touchdown and 12 pass deflections. Austin Chamberlain had 227 tackles, 26 for a loss, 3.5 sacks, and 9 interceptions. And then he also had 5 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery. Also wanted to mention Jay Azur with 11 career interceptions, and he also had 2 defensive touchdowns, 9 pass deflections, and he also recovered a fumble. In his 2 years with us, AJ So had 37 makes for 42 attempts and a percentage of 88 and a long of 60. We don't have a players leaving page now because there's no more off season with it being the final year, and usually I like to recap the seniors and people leaving us, so I'll just do it here from the roster. You got Earl Callaway, a longtime starter at safety, just a tremendous player for us. Then Alec Murphy and Marvin Pryor were 2 guys who were really good on that offensive line and helped pave the way for Marquez Hopper. Then you got Jay Azur, who was a playmaker at corner, and Julius Castile waited his time and really made an impact his senior year as our starting quarterback. And Marquez Hopper, what else can be said? The Heisman Trophy winner was just absolutely tremendous. One of the greatest running backs we've ever had. Just on the field, he was explosive, he was powerful, he was everything you could ever want. And I'm just going to miss watching him play these last couple of years, but just absolutely incredible. And then Cordell Reese, another great safety for us. And Mark McGinnis, the man in the middle, just one of the greatest cover linebackers we've ever had, and we've had a lot of great ones, so that's saying something. And Darren Nasraldine, the Jim Thorpe Award winner, a fantastic compliment to Jay Azur. And then we got Alpha Rowe, the transfer, making an impact, and Nate Mowdy. He was getting a bunch of sacks as a linebacker, which you love to see, and he was really tremendous. And then, we got Kona Anatolu, of course, making an impact. Austin Chamberlain, another great cover linebacker. And I want to get down to our tight end. He's a little more down than these guys because he's about 87 overall, but here he is, Kashawn Tobin, the John Mackey Award winner, just tremendous asset for us, and we're going to miss playing with him. And just really, really proud of this team, these seniors, everybody involved, just really tremendous season from these guys. We're going to take a look at the record books now and see where the Peteytown Piranhas stack up for career records. You got receiving yards for Max Martino, and he also had the receptions record, and he had the receiving touchdowns record, and just a legend in the game, a tight end, and a guy who was our first Heisman Trophy winner. So when I say legend, I really mean it. And Peter Ladogowski was the career sacks record holder. And then you got Eli Newcomb with the passing touchdowns record. So very special to see all those Piranhas up here. here. We did not have any game any game stats or anything for college football, but for the season, we did have Zay Garvin reach 200 catches. He was another Heisman Trophy winning tight end for us. And then Peter Latagowski set the season mark for sacks with 30, and receiving touchdowns was actually Dylan DeLuca at 29. So a lot of very special guys here. And then we're going to look at any for the Big Ten. No game here. For the Big Ten career, we got a bunch of guys here. You got Max Martino, of course, and Eli Newcomb. Then you got Max Martino again. And then we have Eric Amaro, actually, was the career sack record holder for the Big Ten at 54. Peter Latagowski's record came in another conference, so that's why he's not there. So that's pretty special. We were pretty much playing in all the conferences, so I'm just checking all of them. We got one here with interceptions, Anthony Kaufman at the American Conference, and some of them might be a little skewed, actually, so I might not go down this just because if you set records while you're in a conference, it kind of just messes with things if you were in a previous conference before, so actually might not mess with that too much. But we'll focus on the Big Ten because we were there for so often. But we got the Big Ten career passing yards leader, or the season yards leader, with Stanley Turner. Then you got Zay Garvin, of course, at the receptions. Alex Keener with 70 passing touchdowns. And then you got receiving touchdowns, Dylan DeLuca, of course. And Zach Ball set the interceptions record for the Big Ten in the season. And another note about Alex Keener with those 70 touchdown passes, that was a season where a Baylor quarterback actually won the Heisman Trophy, and he threw 70 as well, so that was a pretty crazy season, but I think that pretty much sums up everything for what we're looking for here in the record book. We are not done with the record book, as I got to look at our school records, of course. Silly me. We got passing yards leader Eli Newcomb at 14,893. Max Martino with the receiving yards, of course. Ray Rice did not go to Peteytown, but we took over Rutgers, so he's here, and nobody from our school ever passed that mark, so that's that. Then receptions, of course, Max Martino, Eli Newcomb with the passing touchdowns, and receiving touchdowns, Max Martino. Peter Latagowski, of course, with the sacks. Then for rushing touchdowns in a career, we saw Marquez Hopper get that this year, so very special. And then for interceptions, it's the legend Anthony Kaufman with 20. And then for a single game, got a few here. Pete Manning set the record for most passing yards in a game with 592. Ray Rice, of course, is there. Receiving yards in a game was Max Martino at 255. Then you got Zay Garvin with receptions in a game at 19. Passing touchdowns in a game was Pete Manning at 10. Then sacks in a game was Peter Latagowski with 6. Then we got another Rutgers one. Receiving touchdowns in a game, Alex Payne with 5. Then interceptions in a game was Anthony Kaufman with 4. I mentioned it previously. It was that legendary game against Georgia in the playoffs all those years ago. Something I'll never forget. And then for the season stats, you got Stanley Turner, 5,889 yards. Then Ray Rice again. For receiving yards in a season, Max Martino almost hit 2,000 there. Zay Garvin, we know. And Alex Keener, we know. Rushing touchdowns in a season was Marquez Hopper this year. Then you got sacks in the season, of course, with Peter. And then receiving touchdowns was Dylan DeLuca we saw. And we saw the Zach Ball one. So all those history-making things for the Peteytown Piranhas. Just a very special school to be a part of. Wanted to highlight some things in the college football history tab. You can see all the national championships that we won in a row and all of them in general that we got. So that's really fun. And then we move on over to the conference championship page. You see all the ones that we won in a row, which is very fun when you lay it out on a page like that. And then we also were in every other conference, so we won every other conference except the Mountain West because we just didn't join that one. And then you got the Heisman Trophy. Do that year by year. You can see all the guys who won here. And very special, we got some tight ends at the beginning, then other positions, and a 2-time winner in Adonis Jones. And then the other thing I wanted to highlight, of all the awards that we never won the Ray Guy Award. This was the best punter in the country, and we never won that, so that's the only thing that evades us. And the thing that surprised me was the Remington Trophy. I thought we had won before, but Alec Murphy was the first guy who ever did it, so we were in danger of never winning that award, so Alec made sure we got that one as well, so thank you for that, Alec. And then for other things I wanted to highlight, the very fun John Mackey Award, 30 in a row. So this is the page showing that, where we won this every single year of the Dynasty. So that's very, very special and something that we're very proud of. The last thing I really wanted to highlight here was Petey Previtt's career totals. So he had 451 victories to set the mark that was previously held by Joe Paterno. He's the winningest coach in college football history, and you can see other guys past him as well, with Jeff Brom, Kirby Smart, and Lincoln Riley down here as well. So that's something that a lot of coaches passed, but we are the ones at number 1, and we had a 956 win percentage all time. Every year we had a winning season, so that's very special indeed. Then we had a 76-7 playoff record, a 916 per playoff win percentage, and then 22 national championships, 28 conference championships, 145 first-round picks, and then the draft picks kind of got bugged out. I don't really know what happened here, but we definitely had more than 76. And then we had 20 top 5 recruiting classes, so very special indeed. And I also want to use this opportunity to highlight some other records. We had those 14 straight national championships, of course, and we had done 6 before that, so we have the top 2 spots for that. And that means we won 224 straight games, which is first all-time in college football history. And we also have the second spot at 109 straight wins. And then for the Big Ten championship, of course, we got 20 straight of those. And then we had 21 straight regular seasons without a loss. That was 252 straight regular season games won, so that's a record as well. So just incredible accomplishments all around for the Peteytown Piranhas. Well, we cannot advance past this page, so that truly signifies that it's the end of the dynasty here for the Peteytown Piranhas. Just so many memories, so many championships, awards, and everything won by these guys. So many wins, of course, and so many fun times, and just really, really proud of everything the Peteytown Piranhas accomplished over this dynasty, and I want to thank you all for watching. If you watched all the way through, you're a true hero. If you watched videos here and there, you're also really special as well. And if you're watching this now, I'm just truly grateful for the support. Anything you do, any likes, subscribes, or just views in general, anything you want to comment on down below, if you want to see anything in the future, just let me know. But I'm just truly, truly proud of everything that this dynasty has become, and I'm looking forward to College Football 27 and continuing a team builder dynasty there, and any other videos and ideas that come to my mind in the future for that. I'm just very excited to have done this. I've always wanted to do a YouTube channel with like the gaming and stuff like that, and especially the college football gaming, so just very excited to have done it, just pushed myself to do it, and to do it in this fashion where I just enjoy team builder and dynasties and stuff was really, really special. So thank you all, and I'll see you guys next time.